Welcome. These are just some of the tools that we have on the boat. So this is my little workshop area. As you can see, it's outside, it's fantastic. We've also got a bunch of tools which are in the engine room, which I'm not getting out for the sake of just show and tell. But if we are going to pick 5 essential tools that we need to have on the boat, it's pretty simple. This collection right here is a collection that I use all the time. So one of the projects I'm currently doing is repairing a hatch. So what we're doing is using the multi-tool with the sanding heads in order to get the varnish off. We're using the drill in order to put new hardware on, and the impact driver just makes life a whole lot easier. This one's not so essential, but sometimes things are so hard to get off that you need that extra torque. Bunch of different heads, drill bits and all the rest of it. This here is an absolute lifesaver, and by lifesaver it could actually save our lives. Let's go and check out what this is used for. Not going to cut the anchor chain, but if I needed to, this is going to make short work of that chain in the event that it's stuck. This anchor or our rock anchor gets stuck on rocks somewhere and we've got no choice but to cut the anchor and go. The last thing I'm going to want to be doing is cutting that with a hacksaw. It would take forever. And if we're in danger and we need to cut this straight away, this is going to be an absolute lifesaver. Battery powered, so the generator doesn't need to be on. We can just cut and go and say goodbye to our very expensive anchor. But we do have a spare. Hopefully never at all we have to cut our anchor chain. This versus this, I'm going to pick this every time. In the engine room though, if I've got to cut some pipes, I'm probably going to use this. So again, having a good decent hacksaw with a bunch of blades is absolutely imperative. Working around the boat, this multi-tool with all of the various head attachments that come with it. As I said before, sanding. So we've got a whole bunch of sandpaper and then a whole bunch of awesome different kinds of head attachments. This tool, especially when you're dealing with cabinetry and wood, has been fantastic. Wouldn't replace it with anything. Now, one of the other things that we've discovered as we've been working on the boat and working around the boat is all of this wood is really hard, and so you do need a decent saw. So we've learned this the hard way, that not having a saw makes life really difficult. Bags and bags and bags and bags of tools. Proper vice grips, can't do without them. These clips have been absolutely amazing in so many different capacities. As I'm working, using the table as a workbench, the clips have been fantastic. Big old G-clamps, fantastic. And a multi-purpose, big, massive mechanics tool set with all of the various bits and pieces. Again, has been awesome. Now this came with the boat and it used to be stored outside over here, so corroded. It's now stored inside. Again, an assortment of different heads, an assortment of all sorts of different tools. Now this whole set basically is redundant for everything else that we've got in here. but it's all in one place and it's good to go. I can just pick it up and grab it. What I don't want to have happen is I need to do some repairs when we're out here and I discover that I don't have a square bit driver, for instance, which we've discovered previously. So now we've got a whole lot of extra tools and a whole lot of extra capacity to make sure that we've got all of the bases covered, as well as all of the tools in the engine room. So what we're deciding to do is build a lovely little stand for one of the docking ropes, just to make life a whole lot easier. So the workshop. So I had to break out the big guns and go and ask old mate Ken for a proper old-fashioned great-grandfather's type tool. Now this is a massive piece of steel which I didn't have, as it turns out. So as I'm making this, I'm now having to go backwards in time, which is fantastic. Just like that. Come past, pick up, 3 through on. Job done. Yep. So as you would have seen when we were building the mooring line hook, we had a whole lot of different bits and pieces going on. Had to borrow old mate Ken's big old rasp. Chisels were fantastic. We did lose something overboard into the ocean, however, didn't we, Alex?
Yeah.
So we had a nice set square that was balancing on the square of the post. Whoa! Into the ocean it went. So one of the things we're going to perhaps get for Christmas is a big massive fishing magnet. So hopefully we can retrieve that before too much corrosion happens. You're going back to these clips because they're right here. These clips are worth their weight in gold.
And they're super cheap too, aren't they?
They're super cheap. But look at this. So on all of the rails around the boat, we can secure washing and or towels or just anything, and they're not going to go anywhere because they're really grippy and strong. So we haven't managed to lose anything when we've got this attached to the rails.
Great for windy days.
Great for windy days like this. 40 knots, fantastic. Well, not now.
Well, actually, I think it is out there. I think it's really windy. There's a, you can see everything kind of.
It's really
It's pretty windy. Shall we demonstrate the clips?
So a day like this is a fantastic washing day, but you do always run the risk of losing things. And we have lost things in the past because we weren't using these clips. Chuck it on. Wait for the wind.
You can see gusts coming across the water. Here it goes. It's not going anywhere.
So I can happily walk away from that, confident that that's going to stay put. So storage is an also really important bit to the whole equation, because you're quite often just wanting to grab something and go. Having these bags has been a godsend, because as you can see, as I'm working through Sophia's hatch, I can isolate what bits of hardware has come from it, and if I need to replace any of these screws, I know what I'm dealing with to start with. Just makes life a whole lot easier. And again, being able to access all sorts of different bits and pieces nicely organized is really imperative. Quite often when things go bad on a boat, especially mechanically, they go bad really quickly, so you don't really want to be scrambling around looking for bits and pieces. If you know where everything is, then you can just go and get what you need and fix the problem straight away. Likewise, when we're just tackling projects, it's quite good just to spread it all out, work out what we need, put everything away, and just work with the tools that we're working on the project, rather than having everything everywhere. So it's kind of interesting. A workshop on a boat, that would be fantastic if you had a whole room dedicated to it, but even on a boat this size we don't, so the cockpit table becomes the workshop, which is not a bad place to be doing jobs.